This is Japan, and this is a totally real image of a card shop that I did not draw myself. And we are currently here on this little tiny speck. And today we'll be visiting multiple card shops here, seeing if we find any hidden gems and promptly rating them on a 5-star scale. But before we begin, we should lay down some ground rules on how we are rating them on this 5-star scale.
Category 1.
Product availability. This is pretty straightforward. This is going to be how much they have of specific products, i.e., sealed, raw, slabs, etc.
Category 2.
Product variety. Variety being whether they actually have sealed slabs or raw of different eras like mid-era or vintage even.
Category 3.
Product price, possibly the most important of the three, because if they have products, they have good variety of those products, but the price is wrong, the other two almost just don't even matter. Anyways, enough yapping, let's get into it. To begin, we have Pokemon Center Okinawa. This is actually one of the only places on the island you can manage to get Pokemon cards for retail. And with this being a Pokemon Center, they're obviously not going to have vintage cards or mid-era or anything like that. But this is the cheapest prices you are going to end up getting. But variety of Pokemon products, they're going to be the best you find anywhere. This is a Pokemon collector's dream. Stickers, plushes, t-shirts, even little knickknacks to go around your house. And for majority Pokemon fans, they're going to have something for you or anybody cuz they try to keep in every single Pokemon as in plush wise. So, even my little Krogan, who is absolutely not a popular Pokemon. But on the other hand, you have absolutely the cheapest you're going to find Pokemon cards. One pack is going to run you 180 to 200 yen, and that comes out to around a dollar 30 at most. With that as well, Pokemon Centers also offer you a tax break if you spend over 5,000 yen in one purchase. A major downside is that a lot of the time you're limited to 5 packs or 5 to 10 packs, and you're not able to get booster boxes anymore. This could change in the future when hype dies down a little bit, but in the current market state, it's looking like it's going to stay just how it is now. So, availability, variety, and price. Starting with availability, I think we're going to give it a 3 stars. Now, often they will have product no matter what when you go in there, but you sometimes are limited to 5 and in extreme cases, 2 packs, but there's no possibility of getting booster boxes anymore, and sometimes they'll have unique little products, but that's about it. On the bright side, with limiting product like that, it gives everybody a chance to obtain product. So that's why we give this 3 stars. Secondly, we have variety. Now, variety, we are going to give this a 2 stars. Now, with variety being a 2 stars, explanation is they have lots of Pokemon products, but when it comes to the cards, they don't really have a lot. It's single packs only, and there's no possibility of slabs, obviously, or raw cards. Thirdly, we have price, and for price, Pokemon Center gets a 5 stars. Now, it is hard to beat $1.26 per pack. That is all I have to say. With that, it brings us to a 3.3 score for the Pokemon Center. If you disagree with my score, you should let me know down in the comments of what you would have given it as a score and reasoning why. But anyways, we're on to the next shop now. This is Mint. Mint is actually in the same mall as the Pokemon Center, just upstairs on the 3rd floor. With that being said, with it being in a mall, its prices do reflect. Although you're not going to find crazy deals here, and they don't actually have any sealed, they do have a decent variety of cards and slabs. Like slabs here, you can see quite a few. They have a couple English slabs to go along with them. They have a little bit of English cards, and then they also have One Piece to go with Pokemon. Now, I don't collect One Piece, but I know a lot of people do. But they also have a small play area in the back where players can actually come and play the game. And they offer a grading service where they'll send it in to PSA for you, so you don't have to do all that work yourself. And here's some of the One Piece cards. I just skip over them because like I don't really collect One Piece. So, but they do have a lot of the higher end modern cards. A lot of people sell here. I don't know why. When you offer them, I think they offer around 50 to 60% of market value, which I personally wouldn't sell for that. But they also have pretty much any modern day AR you're looking for. So if you're just trying to complete your master sets, it's pretty good. A little bit of vintage, nothing's like spectacular or mind blowing that you find here. And they have this weird thing where they don't sell you the top loaders with it unless it's over a certain amount. I think that's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. Now, I didn't end up buying anything from this store in particular, but my buddy did, and it was more modern stuff, but the prices were pretty fair on it. But their vintage and weird slabs are definitely overpriced, and their buyback is damn near predatory. Alright, so availability is going to get a 2 stars. The single availability is absolutely there. I'll give them that. But when it comes to sealed product or individual packs, they don't offer that. So that's justifyingly 2 stars. Now, for variety, we're definitely going to have to give it higher than the Pokemon Center. So we're going to go a 3 star on the variety. They have no sealed, but they have singles and slabs with a little bit of vintage sprinkled in there. Now, their prices, we're definitely going to give them a 2 stars. On their prices, they are a little bit over market value. They're in a mall, so that could contribute to it, but nonetheless, their prices are higher than normal. This brings us to the overall score of a 2.3 stars. It's not bad, it's not good, it's definitely not gonna impress anybody. On to our next store. The next store we have is called Table Dog. It's located about a minute or two drive away from the Aeon Mall, which is where the Pokemon Center and the last card shop were located. If you drive here, you'll likely need to park in the 7-Eleven parking lot because they have a salon on the first floor, and the parking lot is always packed. There's no no room to ever park anywhere. Now inside, they actually have One Piece, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon cards, as well as like some anime figures. But we're mainly just going to focus on the Pokemon card side of things, because that's what the channel focuses on. Now, coming here, I was very surprised. The vintage selection has been much better than any other store I've been to yet. Especially in this video so far, the Pokemon Center and Mint barely have any, and they're like decent. It's actually stuff that you might consider picking up. But there's the catch, of course, and their prices do tend to be slightly higher. They're not terribly higher, but it is like a good 5%, and they don't negotiate. I asked, I picked out a mid-era card, and I was like, uh, you would you go down on this price at all? And he said no, they don't do any sort of that negotiation at all. Even though the card was marked as like a mint card, and it was clearly like light played. And that's the thing with Japanese card shops is they don't really consider to negotiate at all. Maybe I'm just spoiled by the fact of American card shows, and the card shows are so prevalent right now, but they won't consider any sort of negotiation. But this card shop does buy English as well, so if you wanted to sell here, you could. Some card shops just completely refuse to buy English at all. The variety is definitely here. I wouldn't say they have a ton of cards because they only have, I think, around 3 cases of cards. But the variety of the cards in the cases are pretty off. You have their vintage, they come over to like more high end, and then further on the next case, you have like just your ARs that are going to be running like 300 yen a piece. This Sekrom here is actually the card I asked if they would negotiate on the price at all, and they said they wouldn't. There's quite a bit of whitening there on the back. They do have a couple slabs. They have this grading company, ARS, I believe, which I've never really seen all that often. And a couple PSA. You got the Chinese Sylveon. There's a couple, some break cards, which is pretty cool. Haven't seen any of those in a while. English as well. So they seem to be very foreign friendly here. So on the sealed side, they really don't have anything. They have a couple boxes, but they're super expensive. A couple of like mid-era vintage packs, which these are pretty cool. I like those. They used to have a Diamond and Pearl pack here that I wanted to buy so bad.
Yeah.
The sealed here is mostly English, which is surprising because, this is Japan, right? So, availability. Now, they have the product, they just don't have a lot of quantity of the product. So, we're going to give this a 2.5. It's good, just not quite there yet. Now, variety. Variety, I actually love this store for how much it actually has, like, different than anything else. Like, they have their modern, but they also do have their vintage. So, I'm going to throw this one a 4 stars. I'd love to give it a 5 stars, but I can't justify it with the lack of sealed product that they have there and the minor amount of slabs. Now, pricing is where they lose me. I don't know if they are just not updating their prices very often, because we are in more of a downturning market now, so there's no reason to be charging 20 to 30% above market. But, anyways, 2 stars on pricing. They almost had it, so close, but so far. Bringing our total to 2.8 stars. Now, I'd check a shop out if you're in the area, but I wouldn't go out of my way to visit this shop alone. Unlike this next one, which I would go out of my way to visit alone. Now, if you go to this building here with all the little rainbow stripes on it, and to the third story, you'll find one of my favorite shops, and which is surprising because this shop is very new. I think it's opened within the past 3 months or so. But you go into this sketchy little two-man elevator. That's the only way to get up there. There's no stairs. Now they have their standard everywhere. Every card shop in Japan has these little gambling things, but that's not what we're here for. This right here is what we're here for. These cards. This place ticks nearly all of the boxes. The price, the variety, the quantity. Now, these first few booster boxes here are not a good example. I don't know why these are priced so high. And this is the drop week of Storm Emeralda, so 28,000. It's kind of standard. I don't know why they drop ridiculous prices just first week. But majority of the other stuff is priced pretty decently. It's about $60 for a Nihil Zero box, and still, everything else is still relatively decent priced as well. Now, their high-end singles are also priced pretty well. My buddy here pointed out this Sekrom, which is priced at 17,800 yen, which is around $110. And this here is the active price of it, which is around like 170, and that's a month later. Sadly, he didn't pick it up, and he's living to regret it. And they got this Pikachu wall, as all Japanese card shops tend to have for some reason. Now, I actually went ahead and picked up this Tohoku box and the Hiroshima box here because they were fantastically priced, and there's the last one I needed to complete the three. Now, they also have two different cases of slabs. They have the 6,500 yen case slab, which is just, you know, random ARs from different sets, nothing too crazy. But they are 10s for 60 bucks pretty much. But in the less populated case below, they have more sought after. There's like Bubble Mew, PSA 10 51 Charizard, a couple almost picked that Pikachu up, some random Pikachus, SAR Greninja from the new set, some Prismatic, all 10s by the way. So some of these are actually kind of desirable that some people might actually want to pick. So for the best shop we've had so far, availability. Availability is going to get a 4. It's got plenty of packs, it's got some decent sealed, and singles are absolutely there. The only thing it's missing is vintage singles. Now that brings us into variety. Varieties is gonna get a 4 stars overall. They pretty much have everything dating back 2, 3 years, and then they even have a couple special limited edition boxes, as well as slabs. The only thing they are missing are those vintage singles. They don't have any vintage singles. Now for pricing. Honestly, pricing I can say is honestly a 4.5 out of 5. They're not it's not Pokemon Center cheap, but it's probably as close as you're gonna get without being directly from a retailer like that. There's limited edition boxes like Toku, Hiroshima, and Fukuoka were super good value. And the singles as well. The Zekrom that was pointed out was nearly $50 underneath market value. So overall, this store gets a 4.1, which is the highest we've had so far. And honestly, I can see it improving by them buying a bit more vintage in, but that's completely dependent on the store. And stocking just a little bit more product would honestly just bring this up to a 5 star. Maybe not quite a 5 star because to get 5 star, you'd have to get Pokemon Center prices. But pretty much as close as you can get, like a 4.8 or something like that. And to make it better, if you just go right outside, down the stairs, right across the street is Japan TCG Center. Now this is like more of a branch. They have a couple of these. There's another one I was considering adding to this video, but this one's just what I consider to be the better one. I'd consider this store to be like a really good one to go to if you're looking to like master set Japanese. And their prices are very reasonable. They also have a very heavy like actual player. They host tournaments every time I've been in there. I've seen them. I also believe this place gets distribution and opens the packs themselves and then puts them into their displays. But prices still are pretty decent. I mean, this is release week of the set. They have these cool tablet things too, where you can look through their whole inventory to see what they have. Uh, my dumbass here clicked on what they're selling or what they buy for, rather than what they have in their inventory. But I think the tablet system is a super cool idea and concept that I want to implement myself. These yellow sticker cards are also a pretty good, easy way to fill up binders. Like they're just like they might be minor damage to them, like maybe a scratch that you won't even be able to see. So super good binder copies at a pretty good discount. I often see these cases get entirely cleared out by one person sometimes, whether it's a whatnot streamer or somebody who's just trying to resell them themselves. Mind you, these are release week prices here. 1800 for Groudon. You're looking at 300 for this Electivire. I think this Electivire looks sick. This store is definitely more catered towards players rather than collectors. With that being said, this is more of like a collector's guide. So we have to give availability a 2. Plenty of singles all day long, but if you want any sort of sealed or packs or slabs or stuff like that, this is not the place for you to go. Variety is pretty much in the same boat there too. We're probably going to give it a 2 as well. It does not have anything besides like a vintage single here and there, maybe some cool promos, but no sealed, no slabs, no none of that. So two's very justifiable. But where it recovers, I believe, is the price. The pricing here is pretty good if you're trying to pick up like a bunch of singles to throw into your master sets or something like that. Definitely would check this place out. But if you're looking for anything else, I'd go elsewhere. But with a 2, and a 4, that puts this perfectly in the middle of the road at about a 2.6. Very respectable in my opinion. Now this is the final store of the video. This is TCG Any. What I like a lot about this store is that they have an Instagram and they post everything new that they get in, so I can just see what they have before actually going in. Now, I don't have a ton of clips from this place because honestly, I forgot to record a lot of them, but they do have a good selection of stuff. Singles, a massive amount of singles. They have a bunch of like little bins to go through to find every AR that you could possibly want. Um, they have sealed, they have slabs, they have a little bit of vintage, but it's just here and there. Um, their prices are pretty much a little middle of the road. I think they're pretty much riding that Pokemon hype there, and it's now starting to die down, and their prices haven't really caught back up yet. I was disappointed when I visited this last time because normally they have a lot wider selection, and this time there wasn't anything crazy. This is also the release week of Delta Rain or whatever they call it, Emerald Storm, or yeah, whatever. 25K for that box. Definitely not picking that up. They have a small play area. I've never actually seen anybody play there, but then they actually have a bunch of like ARs and SRs and stuff for good for filling out your master sets pretty much only. But that is all I have clip wise for this store. Honestly, overall, we're not gonna do an individual breakdown, but this store is probably middle of the road, probably a good 3. Yeah, I'd say 3 is pretty pretty reasonable. Prices are okay. You can find a deal here and there. They have a decent amount of product, and the variety is there. They have the sealed, the slabs, a little bit of vintage, a bunch of singles. You know, 3 stars. I think it's reasonable. Now, before we end the video, I have a couple shops that I've never been to, but I've heard good things about that I'm just gonna drop in here. Maybe you guys can find some like hidden gem type deal there. TCG Shop Sunrise is one of them. TCG Shop Ocean, Absolute Zero, TCG Shop Star, Airyu, and one I've actually visited before but didn't get the opportunity to do in this video is TCG Mina. Now, that's going to be it for this video. This video took me a long time, and I would appreciate it if you were to like, comment, subscribe. It would really help me out.